Okay, we have to get ready for the market. We gotta go get our tools for the market. There's the Bootsy's Brothers food, the 2 cats we feed. Okay, gonna need grinders in the tool shed. Alright. Okay, that's gonna come with us. Okay, we got the car all packed, ready to go to market. Here we go. All right, Margie got us to market with the new Murano, and we're gonna unload and get the rocks, the stones set up. So we'll unload everything onto the porch of the cabin. Okay, we got the stuff on the porch of the cabin. We're gonna set up all the carvings out here for the public at the market and in the cabin. Gonna bring the generator out. And the paintings we're working on, and all the carvings are in here. Margie's chair and desk. And one of the new tables. Today we're going to be focusing on drilling stone. Some big ones out here. Nice hole we're working on right here. It's going to be very nice. Beautiful stone. You see it wet? Yeah. Goody. The things we're working on. Little workplace right there. Good. Lots. Okay, got the product all set up. Statues for the carving. Photos on the board. We'll make some new ones. So we're gonna drill some stone today. We're using the generator for power in the cabin. Got another source of power, but we'll be drilling with this. These are the pins. These are smaller pins. So I've got one drilled here. So the idea then of building them is I can pin that, and then I'll pin that piece on. Now that's pinned on, and it's ready to carve. So I have some other ones. These all have steel pins in them. They're not just piled on top of each other. They're permanent. And then once that goes into place and it's carved, you can glue it and it'll stay in place as 3 pieces. They're not just piled stones, but they look like it. It's much safer. We're going to make some other ones today. Get the stones and drill them. You can build your statue this way and plan different subject matter. This is a larger pin than the other one. You look at it beside the other one, you see difference in the size. So for that, the larger one, you're going to use that on these larger pieces here, so that they're really solid and they don't move. They're big. That's probably 1,000 pounds. I can carve small pieces in here under shelter and rain and that without any rain. That's the power stone. So this is where we're drilling the stone. That can either be a base, or I can drill all the way through and put the pin and stack the stones, but it's solid, and then you flatten it with the grinder, and it should fit. Where we drilled through it, this stone here is the next one. I want to stand it up on the other one. It's a little longer. I'll have to flatten the bottom here. But if you look in here, this stuff, that was formed with a lot of pressure. That's all like the quartzite, could be diamonds. That's formed with a lot of pressure. That's probably going to break off if I don't drill it right. But that's really interesting, that whole line there. It's all got a condensed quartzite. Okay, we have this stone cut. We've got it drilled here, and then we've got it cut flat with the diamond blade. That's your masonry blade, and when you're using that, it's different from wood. If you haven't used it before, let it float. It'll float in, and just maintain control of it, 2 hands on the tool all the time. This piece of stone is really interesting. You never really see the stone. There's a terrible skin on this of dirt, billions of years of dirt and everything. But what's really interesting about this piece is this line here, because that was compacted when it was formed, and there's really it almost looks like a jade in there or something. There's definitely some minerals in there. So it's going to get, I'm going to take the skin off this, and you'll see then what the stone looks like. We'll wet it and it'll totally change, but we're going to pin it and build. This will be the top of our statue, and then we're going to build it with a few parts. Okay, here you can see we've taken all the skin off the stone, so we're going to take it over and wet it, and you'll see the difference. Okay, so we're going to put it in the water. There's crystals in there. That's good. So this is going to be our base. We'll drill a hole in here, and then this piece and this piece will fit on to make it 3. Okay, so I have drilled these 3 pieces, and the rebar will go in the center. And I've gone and I've made them flat. Here with the grinder, you just lay it smooth and let it smooth it out. And this usually pops out when you drill from this side. The other side, when it comes out, it's going to pop out and give you, it's almost like really good shards. You know, you can make arrowheads out of them. And then that's the other piece. So you want them flat so they meet together, and you're building it properly. So we'll put it together and see what happens here. So these 3 pieces are now all pinned together. And pretty good seal. You want them to fit really well. I'm going to carve this now. I'll probably do this guy into an owl, and maybe this a turtle. I use animal themes in a lot of my works because I figure the stone was once molten, maybe life, and just recycling. So to carve life forms in stone makes sense to me. You'll see in most of my works like this, there's repeating themes of life forms. I try to make them interesting. This is a big owl, but it looks a little different from each side. You get an eagle here. So anyway, that's a larger. Another thing to remember, if you're going to carve stone, the stone hardness really means something. So you can wet the stone too, so you see it better. This particular stone is from northern Ontario, and even though it was found in a farm field down here, it came down in the Ice Age. I've carved all kinds of stone in northern Ontario, and you find this up here. That's got a nice flat bottom, so I'm going to want to drill a hole right there and then mount it onto another stone and make a 2-piece, or I can make that into a bear or a fish or something like this. This stone is hard, so what I'm getting at is there are different types of stone hardness. So when you go to carve, green stone, generally speaking, is going to be pretty hard, a lot of iron in it. Pink stone is going to vary. Belmont rose is hard, but other pink stones can be very soft and easier to carve. So that's, if you go around Parry Sound in Ontario, there's a Parry Sound gray, It's a great stone to carve, but these two stones are really hard. But the advantage of it is your subject is going to stay there permanently. It's a beautiful piece. Granite doesn't change. So just a side note on choosing your stone if you're going to carve. So what I've done is I've got my owl carved in here. That I just sketched it in on that piece. So I took the 3 pieces and I mounted them on the bigger one I've been working on for a while, that has a swan on the bottom preening its feathers, and then the other large owl and multiple works. So this is like a baby with a little totem. So I'll carve the owl up today, and then this will probably be a turtle. And they all are empowerment animals. Each animal has its own little message with it. So we've got the owl sketched in, and next I will do a turtle here. I'm just going to finish up some things on the owl. I make the feathers with a kind of a rocking motion, back and forth. You let the blade float back and forth, and you'll make feathers, fish scale. This is granite. That's permanent. That's not going to change. It's at least a quarter of inch, half inch deep, just with the normal cut. You can see it on top. It's just weaving it. You're doing a half circle and letting it float. You get used to it. So your textures that you're using, once you get the subject matter, you do the eyes, do the triangle for the nose, and then the round part of the face, and then you can weave like that for the feathers. Okay, so this, the 3, becomes a nice addition. Got the pieces carved. This is all done in one day. This part, these 3 were done in one day, drilled. The other part that it's part of the composition is here. So now you're going to see it like that. The small one, this would be beautiful in a yard. And then I still have work to do on the large bird on the bottom. I need to work on the feathers. And the other side here, still working, you can see, but this will be done soon. And then this could go in a park, in a civic square, someplace in a municipality, or if it was going in a yard, I would want a landscape around it, and we've done that before. They can be turned into water features as well. So that's the application of drilling the stone and building something and fitting it together and making a subject. The stone really determines sort of the subject you're going to do. Here's another one that I've drilled and pinned together. It's about 3 feet high, and birds are popular. So I'm going to make this, I've already got some cuts there. I'm going to make this into a bird. I've cut some away in here to make the head in here. And it'll carve relatively quickly because I've made quite a few. And you can see another example of bird there. So I'll do something like that. Okay, so I got this shaped in a little bit for the head and some of the feathers. And you can see it's about 3 feet tall. So what I want to do, the wings are kind of up around the head, and he's going to take off or something like that. So what I want to do on the back here is I'll go get the big grinder, and I want to cut in deep here for the body, and then make the tail wings. And then the base, it's not small, it's still, that's about 150, 200 pounds. And it's really beautiful green and pink granite, hard stuff. I'll carve that into another animal, and then this will be a piece that could be manhandled and go in a yard or anywhere, and it could mount on another stone as well. Drill a hole in the bottom, and then it would mount up on another stone. Be a great bird. And there we go, we got this kind of sketched in. all the way around. Got the feathers back. And to this side. If he's not done yet, I'm gonna do him holding a fish down here at the bottom. You can kind of see it at the back. He'll be underneath and up around the body. That's the bird. You see the stone, it's wet, so now you can start to see the beautiful makings of this stone here. It's lovely. So here's a good example of drilling and pinning the stone to make something. These are all pinned on there, and then I'll carve them, and it'll make up one statue. And anyone into martial arts or yoga or anything, you might want to try stone carving yoga, because even just holding that tool, I think the one big tool, it was honestly 3 months before I could even lift the tool, let alone carve with it. But it does work better, the big tool. Diamond blade, and you got to let the tool run at its own speed. If you push and apply pressure too much, it's going to slow it down and it won't cut. So it requires strength to hold it out to let the blade flow. That will get you in good stone carving yoga shape. And trust me, you'll probably be able to take a punch and throw a punch a heck of a lot better when you're lifting stones all the time.